A lawyer who backs XRP named John Deaton has asked Gary Gensler to step down. This demand comes at a time when the Securities and Exchange Commission is already facing court challenges and criticism for how it regulates and enforces laws about cryptocurrencies. The Securities and Exchange Commission was fined $1.7 million for false behavior in the debt box case. John Deaton wants a change in leadership at the agency because of this. Because of the talk about the loan box, this choice was made. A lawyer named John Deaton, who supports XRP, has started to push for Gary Gensler, the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, to step down because the commissions have been seeking to do things that aren't necessary. Deaton has been an amicus curiae in important cases involving companies like Ripple and Coinbase, and Gensler has been helping him do this. A spot where you can find everything you need to know about XRP. We'd really enjoy it if you could give it a big thumbs up, click the button to subscribe, add your email address, and join our community before we start. He said that the Securities and Exchange Commission has used methods that hurt the businesses it investigates financially while it has been doing its investigations. Not only that, but he doesn't like how the agency handled the case. People in the cryptocurrency community are very angry about the news that officials from the Securities and Exchange Commission have said they want to use court costs to bring down the cryptocurrency business by force. John Deaton also told me that this news shows that the Securities and Exchange Commission has been putting pressure on Larsson and Brad Garlinghouse, two leaders at Ripple. The sender of this message was John Deaton. Deaton says that this not only shows that the SEC is acting in good faith while being supervised by the current administration. Deaton and other people have said they are worried about the need to replace the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission and how the SEC analyzes and applies the rules that govern securities to digital assets. Several other people have also pushed for changes in accounting to be put in place within the office. More enforcement measures are being taken, and these ones are mostly about the market. The official group in charge of keeping an eye on stocks and exchanges because of this plan. A lot of lawsuits were made, which changed the laws that govern the Bitcoin markets. Since the Securities and Exchange Commission disagreed with other cryptocurrency companies that were used as an example, it did nothing. The only problem that came up was the debt box. There are some digital assets that are controlled by the Electronic Communications Commission, according to what Sheikh said, because some of these assets are thought to be stocks. The Securities and Exchange Commission is currently in a court battle with Ripple over whether or not its XR token is a security. According to what Deaton has said in his calls for accountability at the top levels of the Securities and Exchange Commission, this rule could slow down the growth of the market for digital assets, which is already happening. People have said that the Drug Enforcement Administration runs the business in an unfair and controlling way. Some people who are against this rule say that putting it into effect could slow the growth of the market for digital assets. That John Deaton is mad is not a surprise, since he is the one who has riled up a lot of important people. Senate Democrats Sherrod Brown and Elizabeth Warren need to respond quickly. Chris Carlos used to be the head of the Commodities Futures Trading Commission before he got his present job. Deaton says that Deaton should be made chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission to create rules that value creativity more. Carlos, who worked at the time for the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, said that he was more open to changes in Bitcoin than Gensler is at the Securities and Exchange Commission right now. Gensler works at the SEC right now. Some people are upset that John Deaton, an XRP supporter, wants Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, to step down. This happened after a never-ending court battle and more criticism of how the Securities and Exchange Commission did their job. Because of this, there's been a lot of discussion about how to handle the tie since he made his claim. Gensler is in charge of the Securities and Exchange Commission, which Deaton says is trying to hurt his reputation and the reputations of other important people in the Bitcoin field by acting dishonestly and bugging him all the time. A number of people, including Brad Garlinghouse and Larsson, are the targets of these acts, which are meant to hurt Ripple management. The call has been made for Deaton. I did something wrong with the Securities and Exchange Commission at the start of the 2001 year, spread out over more than 3 years. I've always said that the lawyers who work for the SEC were the link between Johnny's worries about digital assets. Johnny said in a statement on May 28, 2024, that the main thing that worries him is how the SEC will apply stock rules to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. It makes me proud to have been one of the first people to say no to Gary Gensler. A lot of people didn't agree with Gary Gensler at first, but I did. That makes me proud. The Securities and Exchange Commission has started a number of enforcement actions because it says that some assets are securities and therefore fall under its law enforcement power. Through a social media post, Deaton directly asks Senators Elizabeth Warren and Brown to do something to make sure that the Securities and Exchange Commission is held responsible for what it does. Deaton says that the SEC's new method to regulation is unpredictable and too harsh. Ripple over this is to the point where it can stop the growth and development of the rapidly growing digital asset market. A well-known lawyer who supports XRP, Bill Morgan, has given believability to claims that the Securities and Exchange Commission uses unfair regulatory methods that are aimed against the cryptocurrency. Morgan said that the SEC has an overly strong bias for Ethereum, which hurts XRP. The claims being made and the lawsuits being filed by the Conservative Political Action Conference Group against William Heinemann, who used to work for the Securities and Exchange Commission, are in line with this statement. In his angry statement, which was shared on X, Morgan joked about how mad he was about ETHgate. He replied, but it's all a big plot by the XRP community. Morgan's comment was made while taking into account the fact that the SEC started an investigation into Ripple in April 2018, when XRP was ranked third in market value, just behind Ethereum. The description is correct. This is true even before the important facts are taken into account. For some reason, this was put up at the same time that many CC employees and lawyers were working on the Heinemann address. Do you think it's possible for a judge to get something for nothing? Because former Securities and Exchange Commission Director William Heinemann is coming under more and more legal and moral scrutiny, a cryptocurrency called XRP was created. The U.S. Committee on Public Policy has chosen to support the Army. In particular, this statement is a direct result of the conservative political action meeting that was set up. This project is being led by the SCAC Foundation, and the Center for Regulatory Freedom has officially complained to both the New York and California bars, saying that Heinemann behaved unethically and may have had conflicts of interest while working for the Securities and Exchange Commission. When Heinemann worked for the SEC, these complaints were made about Ethereum. That extra information can be found on this page. In 2018, Heinemann gave a famous speech in which he talked about the regulatory situation surrounding Ethereum, especially the MET, which is not a security. An expert thinks that XRP will show unusual movements that are more than 0.6. This is what we want to happen. It is said that the charges came from that lecture, which, according to the lawsuit, has big effects on the Bitcoin business. A lot of good things have happened because of this move. The videos end, and by giving the video likes and comments, you are showing that you appreciate them. This is good for the YouTube system. Please send this movie to a lot of people so the word gets out.